Panasonic just released their new G9 camera, but it's a much different camera than I was expecting. The G9 is photography based, so it's kind of like a GH5 just with some specs and some improvements for photography. The G9 uses the same battery as the GH5, has 2 SD card slots, can shoot at 4K 60 frames per second. They didn't mention anything about the improved ISO performance. I'm assuming it's going to be a little bit more refined, but we're not getting any higher ISOs or anything like that. And it has an improved 5-axis stabilization, which I was wanting for in my wish list, but actually this image stabilization seems to be improved over the GH5, so that's really interesting there. I was just reading through the specs and it has a headphone jack. That's kind of neat. It is much like a Panasonic GH5, and it has a full-size HDMI, and it's about $300 less. Now for me, the Panasonic G line is supposed to be a budget kind of video tool. That's why the Panasonic G7 and the G85 exists. For the price point of the Panasonic G7, I think if you're buy it new right now it would be $800, but they go on sale a lot, so you can pick up for around $6 or $7. But this camera is $1,700. So it is better than the Panasonic G85. So it is better than the Panasonic G7 or G85, but you could buy 2 Panasonic G7s for the same price. So my question for Panasonic is, what are they going to do for the next budget filmmaking camera? Are they coming out with a cheaper G9 camera, or are they going to reduce the cost of the G85? So overall, this camera is an unexpected camera. I find it just kind of odd that it would fit into the Panasonic G line. Maybe they're trying to make this into the photography line, but hopefully they come out with a cheaper camera. But I gotta admit, this camera probably checks off a lot of boxes for different photographers, filmmakers, and different types of photography. So perhaps if you're doing both photography and video, combine them together, this looks like a really good option. If you want to read more on the specs, I'll leave a link in the description below. You can check that out right there. Tell me your thoughts on the new Panasonic G9. Are you going to buy it, or are you going to kind of wait to see what they do with the G85 and G7? Let me know. I'll see you guys Friday for my live stream at 6 p.m. Eastern Time, so be there. If you have any questions, go ahead and write them in the comments.